Let's talk about something that trips up almost every Turkish learner. You know how to say, I read, but how do you talk about the idea of reading? How do you say something like, seeing him made me happy? Well, today we are going to unlock that exact skill. We're going to break down Turkish verbal nouns, or İsim-Fiiller, giving you the tools to express much more complex and interesting thoughts.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll nail down the core concept. Then we'll dive deep into the 3 key suffixes that make all the magic happen. We'll even look at how some of these action words have literally turned into everyday objects you probably already know. And of course, we'll wrap it all up with a quick test to make sure everything sticks. Sound good? Let's jump in.
Okay, first things first. Before we even touch a single suffix, let's zoom out and get our heads around the basic idea. What are we really doing when we turn a verb into a noun?
You know, in English, we do this all the time without even thinking about it. We use words like to swim or swimming to talk about the action itself as a concept. So the big question is, how do we pull this off in Turkish? Well, that's exactly what we're here to figure out. And the Turkish term for this is just perfect. İsim-Fiil. It literally translates to noun-verb. And that's the trick, right there. You take an action, a verb, you stick a special suffix on the end, and poof, it's not just an action anymore. It's a thing, a concept, a noun that you can now use as the subject of your sentence, or the object, or just the idea you want to discuss. Okay, and before we dive into our first suffix, we have to talk about the golden rule of Turkish grammar, vowel harmony. You've got to remember that all these suffixes we're learning today are going to change their vowels to match the verb they're attached to. So you'll see mAk or mEk, ma or me, and a few others. Just keep that in the back of your mind and everything else will make perfect sense.
All right, you ready? Let's pick up our first tool from the kit. This is the suffix mAk, or of course mEk. This is your go-to for talking about an action in the most general, abstract way possible. Think of it as the dictionary form, the pure idea of the verb.
So, the key thing to get about mAk is that we're talking big picture. Look at that first sentence. Kitap okumak. We aren't talking about a specific person reading a specific book. We're talking about the general concept of reading books. Notice in all these examples, the verbal noun we've created is the subject of the sentence. It's the thing that is useful, harmful, or the thing that made me happy.
So that was the big, general stuff. Now, let's zoom in and get a little more specific with our second suffix, ma or me. This one's about concrete, individual actions. And this brings up the most important question you're probably asking right now. Wait a minute. If mAk means to do something, what on earth is ma for? When do you use one and not the other?
This slide right here is the key to everything. Think of mAk as the philosophical concept, the abstract idea. It's your English to do, but ma is the actual act of it, the specific instance. It's your English doing. And this is the one you're almost always going to use when you need to add other case endings to it.
And you can see this perfectly in these examples. Just look at the endings. In öğrenmeye, that A on the end shows a direction. I started moving towards the act of learning. Same with görmeye. And in kullanmaya, that marks using the washing machine as the direct object of the verb. Do you know? This is where ma really does its best work.
All right, our third and final suffix is my personal favorite. This is where Turkish gets really poetic and descriptive. It's yish. If the others were about what you're doing, this one is all about how you're doing it. This is the suffix of style.
So let's recap real quick. mAk is the big what. Me is the specific doing of it. But ish focuses completely on the how, the unique manner, the style, the particular vibe of that action. It's like you're painting a picture of the verb itself. And this example just says it all. The verb is gülmek, to laugh. But the sentence isn't about the general concept of laughing. It's about onun gülüşü, her way of laughing, the specific quality and sound of it. See how powerful that is? You're not just saying she laughs, you're describing the laugh itself as a beautiful thing.
Okay, now for a really cool twist. What happens when one of these action nouns gets used so much to describe a specific thing that it just becomes that thing? It basically fossilizes into a regular everyday noun. This is just amazing when you start seeing it everywhere. Take dondurma. It comes from the verb dondurmak, which means to freeze. So ice cream is literally the act of freezing. Or how about yemek? It comes from the verb to eat, so your meal is literally just the eating. And danishma, the information desk, comes from danishmak, to consult.
These words are like little fossils, hiding their action-packed history right in front of us.
Wow, okay, we have covered a ton of ground. We've gone from huge abstract ideas to specific actions, and even described the unique style of those actions. So let's pull everything together into one simple chart before we put your new knowledge to the test.
And there you have it. This is your ultimate cheat sheet. mAk is for the general idea, your to-do. Imma is for the specific act, you're doing, and it's the one that loves taking case endings. And finally, ish is all about the style, the way of doing something. Simple, right? All right, let's prove it.
Okay, first up. I tried blank with him, but he didn't listen to me. So think about it. Am I talking about the general concept of talking or a specific attempt, a specific act?
Number 2. My hobbies are reading books, listening to music, and going to the cinema. Now, what do we use when we're just listing off a bunch of general abstract activities like hobbies?
Okay, number 3. I got used to blank home alone. Here's a little hint. The verb alashmak always needs a directional ending, that a or a. So which verbal noun suffix is the one that can handle that?
And our final challenge for today. My spouse has a license but is afraid of blank a car. The verb korkmak, to be afraid, always takes the from case ending. So they are afraid from what specific act?
All right, pencils down. Let's check those answers. Number 1 has to be konuşmayı. It's the specific act of talking that you tried. For number 2, it's okumak, dinlemek, gitmek, because these are all general concepts. 3 is kalmaya, because alışmak needed that a ending. And number 4 is kullanmaktan, you're afraid from the act of driving. How did you do? I bet you did fantastic. And just like that, you've done it. You now hold the keys to express a whole new level of detail in Turkish. You can turn any action into a solid idea you can talk about. So my final question for you is this. With this new superpower, what is the first big, complex idea you're going to go out and try to say? Thanks so much for joining me.